Today I'm back in Japan at the fish room and we're going to be working in here a little bit. So I was away for 3 weeks in Singapore, and last week was a Singapore video, and I still have 2 more videos that will come out from that trip. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But I wanted to work in the fish room today because there's so much going on and I need to clean this place up is what I'm doing right now. Just from previous projects and things I just gotta clean up. But I also want to set up the new rack for this area because this rack is good, but it's not good for holding fish tanks, for holding aquariums. It's just not as strong as I thought it was. So I'm going to use this for maybe storing like dry goods items, and I'm gonna move this somewhere else. So today we're going to be building a wood rack, kind of like the wood racks I've got over here, but these are like way too solid. You can see they're like 4x4s and they're bolted. They've also got these tenon and mortise joints inside. We're not gonna do anything crazy like that because the tanks I'll be putting on the new shelf won't be filled with water. It'll be mostly a terrarium or paludarium style tanks, and there won't be much weight going on it. So I've got my wood ready right here, and previously all this wood was a brown color. It was this color right here, but I got it sanded down, and let me show you that. It was just this morning. Let's cut to the clip. So this is what the frame is going to look like, and then we have the 4 long legs. This is the front. You guys will see it all done in just a moment. So that was at my carpenter's workshop, and he helped me sand down the wood because they were all a brown color and I really didn't like that color. It doesn't match with this room with all the other racks I've got. You can see, like, I like this color, the natural color of wood. And some areas we weren't able to like sand down because of the shape of the wood, but it's okay. We'll hide this so that we don't see it from the front side. But yeah, the wood was previously this color. I mean, it's not bad. It's pretty nice. I painted it to this color. I mean, I was happy with it before, but after like the change up of the fish room, I kind of want a lighter color. I want it to look brighter. So yeah, that's why I asked him to help me sand it. Alright, so I'm going to start by building the 3 shelves. So this is my blueprint. It's not exact. The measurements are not exact because I changed them last minute. But this is the shape we're going for. And so you can see this is where the tank is going to sit, and we're going to have 3 of these. The tanks will sit on the first 2 shelves, and then on the top shelf will be just maybe storage or empty. So we put the shelves together first, and then we'll attach the legs to the shelf, and it'll be a nice rack. The 3 shelves are done. Now we'll get the legs together, and this thing will be done soon. So excited. So excited to change out that rack. Alright, it is mostly done. We've got the frame, the whole structure set up. I've got to get the plywood on here so that we can have a tank sitting on something. And yeah, it's not perfect. I did rush through this a bit, but I am pretty happy. The good thing is that we're not going to be putting anything heavy. We're not going to be putting tanks filled with water. So weight-wise, it should be okay with just the screws here. I could put like a 2x4 here, so it has more support, but we're not going to be putting anything, nothing heavy is going to go on it, so I don't think it really needs that. Alright, the rack is finished. Now it's time to move that one out of the way, and we're going to replace it with this beautiful wood rack. Alright, absolutely perfect. I'm really liking how it's turning out so far. The reason why I wanted to change the stand is, firstly, this thing wasn't as strong as I was hoping it would be. Like, it bows in the middle quite a bit. Even though it's metal, it's very thin, and yeah, it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. Also, it's quite wide. It's 45 centimeters long, which is about 1.5 feet. And there wasn't much space to walk through this area. It was very narrow. So I've narrowed this rack down to just over a foot. So about 33 centimeters. And it gives me more space to walk about here. And once I get the tanks on here, I think it'll look really nice. I'm gonna probably take this poster down because it is kind of like it's blocking the way. Or I could move it up, but then it'll be too close to the metal part and I don't want it to be, yeah, so I'm just probably gonna take it down. And then I will be securing this rack to the wall like how I did with those two racks. It's really tough to see, but if you look closely, like right here on all four corners, I've got, all two corners, I've attached them to the wall using those L brackets, so yeah, they aren't going anywhere, and neither will this guy. Also, one more thing, the lights are turning off in the fish room. I've been in here the whole day today, but my stand, my racks are never done without their shoes. So we've got to put some shoes on this guy. I've already got two opened here. Let's do this quick. So because I asked my carpenter to help me trim down this wood, it is a bit thinner than a regular 2x4, but it's still able to wear these boots. Alright, so one there. And the reason why I like having boots is just in case, like, I spill water on the floor, the water will not directly get in contact with the wood. and it just helps the wood stay strong. Alright, and the rack has now been complete, and I am loving how it's looking. So I've added lights to the top of the rack on both levels, and they're quite high. There's quite a gap from the tank, and these lights won't be the lights that will be lighting up the tanks permanently. I will have proper lights set up on top of the tanks. One of them is right here. It's the 𝗲𝗾𝗃𝗀𝗀𝘀 Universal WRGB, and we'll be setting this up on a paludarium or a terrarium. Each tank will have their own individual lights, and the reason why I have this is because, for example, if like someone is here in the fish room and they're looking at the tanks, and the tank light turns off from the timer, then I can still go ahead and turn this on manually so that they'll still be able to look in the tank. So I just have two lights, one set up to the rack and then one for the tank itself. And then I've also added some wood blocks here, wood pieces here, so that there isn't a gap in there. I don't know if you noticed it earlier, but yeah, I think it just looks cleaner. It matches the other stands because you can see they're flush right here. I mean, the wood is different. It's a solid block. It's a 4x4, but I just thought it would look nicer if I put this extra block here so that it's nice and smooth, seamless. And the color of the wood is a little bit different. It's white, and usually wood is like that. It slowly yellows over time. You can see those ones over there are quite a darker yellow color, but when I first set them up, they were this white color. So after a year or so, it'll start to look more and more like the other racks. And then the third thing I did is I've added these L brackets, and I've attached the rack to the wall so that this thing isn't going anywhere. So even if I shake it, it doesn't move. So even if there is an earthquake, nothing's gonna happen. So all three of my large racks are attached, mounted to the wall. So even if there's an earthquake, there's nothing to worry about. And then you can see we've got the boots on the legs, and I've also added a shim here since it wasn't quite level. I don't know if it's the floor. I think it's the floor. The floor in this fish room isn't the best, and it's quite slanted at some areas, so no choice. But yeah, I'm really liking how this turned out. I'm really glad that this rack is done now, and I can't wait for the more projects that we've got coming onto this channel. So for this rack, I'm planning on building a few terrariums. One up here, maybe a 60 centimeter terrarium, a 30 centimeter terrarium, and then I'm still not sure. I want to do a 𝗶𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀 setup and a 30 centimeters. So yeah, two 60s and two 30s. Or if you're in the US, two 2-footers and two 1-footers. And then I've also got this tank here that I'm still thinking of what I want to do. I'm thinking of a terrarium or paludarium. But if I'm to do a terrarium, you know how like you have to do a false bottom or something so that the water doesn't stay stagnant at the bottom, and but if I were to do a terrarium, I'd want to drill a hole so that I can release that water out. But I don't want to go through all that hassle. So I'm thinking of a paludarium, but with a paludarium it's also kind of the same thing. It's I want to make it as low maintenance as possible, so I'm still figuring out what I want to do with this tank. Give me some time. Let me think about how I'm gonna set this thing up. And then I've also got the 3-foot tank that I need to set up. Yeah, it still has the rocks from the previous contest tank inside, and I mean the previous contest tank, I just moved the rocks from here into here, and it's just a holding tank right now with some plants. But I'm also going to set this tank up very soon. And then the contest tank right now is going through a blackout. I'm adding Amano shrimp in today, 100 Amano shrimp in this bag right now, and we'll be adding them in to help clean up the algae I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.